Welcome to another episode of Conversation and Cocktails with your host, me, Lenny B. In this episode, we speak to a longtime friend, Walter Cardenas. Me and Walter got a little shitty. I sat down, got candid, and, well, all I have to say is this. Walter's opinions are Walter's opinions, and you gotta love him or hate him for it, but it's Walter. So, without any further ado, roll that footage. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Congratulations on the new career move.
Thank you very much.
Walter now works for the city, and we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Speaking of career moves, when we were younger, we never thought about fucking like careers.
No.
I think we were all too afraid at that point to like get real jobs because it's like, ooh, it's gonna affect if I can go on tour or not.
That was the thing for me for sure. Just you kind of dick around in high school, so you kind of fall into certain things. You fall into whatever kind of work you can find.
Yeah.
If you don't go on to college or whatever. So I ended up falling to accounting, and I did that for a long time. And for that reason, I'm still doing my music stuff, and I need to have a 9-to-5 job, so I have my nights and weekends free. And that lasted for a good while, but it's time to make
Real money,
career moves, work a career instead of a dead-end job.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because there's guys who are now our age now who are still working jobs because they're in their 40s, like, I might do something. I'm like,
yeah. If you were gonna do something, it would have happened by now.
Yeah, it's your.
At some point, reality's got to set in.
Well, how much do you think, especially in hardcore, where reality doesn't exist for a lot of people?
It doesn't exist at all, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of have nothing to do with hardcore anymore.
So we actually met through this. I'm gonna have to eventually get Jeff Marlos on this thing.
I was before I came here. I was watching a bit of the Kevin Gill interview.
Yeah.
And Jeff Marlos was brought up, and this is how'd you guys meet? Oh, Jeff Marlos, and that's how we met basically.
Yeah.
It was through Jeff Marlos because I went to high school with his cousin, and he always told me about my cousin Jeff is this amazing guitar player. My cousin Jeff this, and my cousin Jeff that. So one day. It's like, let's go hang out at my cousin Jeff's rehearsal with his band. Okay, what's his band called? Without a Cause. Cool. So we went down to Boo Studios. 30th Street. That whole building is gone now, unfortunately. Or like all the studios are gone.
Yeah, no, they moved over. Now it's like offices and God knows what. They got all the studios out of there, which is a shame because 30th Street, it was like Boo, Ultrasound, American, a few other fucking places. Then Ultrasound took over like 3 of the floors, and they ran that in Jeff West.
I always went to only Boo Studios whenever I went there.
I went, mostly it was Boo in the early days, and Ultrasound if you couldn't get time at Boo, which, Boo only had like 4 rooms, and one of those rooms you really didn't rehearse in because it was literally the size of this table.
Yeah.
It was a closet, and then they had the showcase room, and then the A and the B room were like the more rooms you wanted to like gravitate to.
I was always in the B room.
The B room was actually
that was like the standard room for everybody.
Yeah, A room was a little weird because it was like drums were catty cornered, amps were catty cornered. It was a really fucking odd thing. Rehearsal was $18 an hour back then.
I remember that.
$18 an hour, which is criminally cheap. Thinking now, well, not really because Soundworks still. Soundworks is still like a $20 an hour.
That, like, whenever I rehearse, that's literally the only studio I will ever go to.
Soundworks actually does it right. They don't fucking knock your dick in the dirt. And
they're good people there, too.
Yeah, they're solid. I didn't actually start going to Soundworks till probably over the last 10 years. I know they've been around for like 20 plus, but I was like, Lou Medina actually turned me on to sound. I was like, you never been there? I was like, no. I was like, okay, Soundworks.
I forget how I started going there, but next thing I knew, that became my studio of choice for the last few years.
Yeah, Soundworks is always a good place.
But I'd come down with Mike Heber and go hang out with his cousin Jeff, and hang out with Without a Cause, and hang out with you, and that's how we ended up becoming friends. It was 92-ish.
Either 91 or 92.
Around then, yeah.
Because Jeff was only in the band. Jeff was out of the band probably by like June '92, maybe July '92, and that's when we got Frank Collins, who only lasted a couple of gigs, and then he went on to go join Marauder for like a real brief time span when Saab was on the outs with the guys.
Yeah.
And then he wound up doing his own thing with Adeline Brooklyn.
Right. Who I played with, I think once or twice, because he was off doing, like he was, I don't remember why, but he wasn't around for 6 months. So
who was this?
For Adeline, Frank Collins.
Oh yeah.
He was, I don't know if he was away at boot camp or training to be a cop or whatever it was, but he wasn't around for a little bit. So they wanted to fill in guitar player. So I don't know who got me in touch with them. They sent me this tape, and I listened to it, and I enjoyed it. So I learned the whole thing, and I went down there, and it was, I don't remember who the bass player was. The singer was this guy Dennis, and the drummer was Pat Flynn from Indecision. So we're hanging out, and we're playing these songs, and they're like, "Holy shit, these songs like sound really good." And it's like, it sounded like I was in the band the entire time because I do my homework. And they were interested in playing a show or two, but this guy Dennis didn't want to do it for whatever reason. So thus ended my very, very brief tenure with them.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Back in those days, dude, we had like. There were just so many random places to play. I mean, obviously, there's the Bond Street, but then you had like places like the Underground, which was around the corner from Bond Street. You had Street Level. Then you had a dozen or so clubs going up and down Avenue A. Yeah. You had a couple of clubs going up and down Houston Street. And obviously the standards such as I'm not talking about like. Coney Island came much later for us.
That was years later.
That was years later, but like, the standards for like Bond Street, Street Level, Underground, maybe Pyramid was still doing shows. Beowulf, there was a little club called Beowulf that was.
I totally forgot about that place.
It was down some steps.
I was there once. I think I went to see Disassociate there one time. It was... Yeah, I think I'd seen Disassociate there one time.
It was a strange place.
Yeah.
And Danceteria was doing shows.
Danceteria.
Later
became the Grand.
Oh, no. That's Cat Club.
Cat Club.
Cat Club became the Grand.
Right.
But...
So what did Danceteria become? Or did it just disappear?
Danceteria was doing shows, but they were doing the whole, like... actually got to play at Danceteria with Warrior Soul.
Wow, that's a random show.
They put us on a bill with fucking Warrior Soul. And I was just like...
Why not? Sure.
That's what I said. I was like... I think they were just, like most corny things, and then this is what happens nowadays, is that people don't put together bills anymore.
Yeah.
They fill slots.
Yeah.
And it was like...
With no kind of care or research.
It was just like, well, look, I think they'll bring people in, so let's just put them on here. I was like, we sound nothing like, or even close at that time to Warrior fucking Soul.
Yeah.
But
hey, let's scare their audience. Why not?
Yeah, exactly, sure.
Kind of like that time when you played at the bank, like when it just opened, and it was literally...
Ooh.
It just opened, so it was like the first random show, and it ended with like chairs being thrown.
Chairs being thrown, monitors being kicked off the stage, microphones being thrown.
Yeah.
I didn't play the bank again until like 1997 after that one.
Yeah.
That was 92.
Yeah.
Because that was with Jeff on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 1992, and I just remember playing this big ass space.
Catty cornered,
which, not for nothing, guys. Anyone who plays a band, catty cornered stages suck. The sound bounces. It
doesn't feel comfortable.
It always feels oddballish. I think I've only played one or two places where there's been a catty corner stage and they made it work. Very rare.
Very
rare. The Grand had a catty corner stage, but it was built out so much it didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
This was like where you turn around and your amp is like in a weird spot and you're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He says as we sit catty cornered.
Yeah, that bank show, from what I remember,
that was,
I don't remember how it just started, but like I said, Next thing you know, a chair got thrown.
Yeah.
It got thrown across the entire length of the club.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, microphone cables are being thrown. Fucking monitors are being kicked off the fucking front of the stage.
Yeah.
And I think they cut the power, threw us out. I don't remember this.
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, but
it definitely ended as chaos.
Do you remember this? We played L'Amour's. This
Suffocation show?
The Suffocation. Well, L'Amour's shut down, after the last Thrash Bash, and then they reopened it maybe a few months later, and they had put the stage on the other end of the club. This is before L'Amour's went through like 20 different changes, cut the room in half.
Yeah.
Had
the backstage areas at other club.
Yeah. Fucking, that was a shame when they did that. But we got thrown on a bill, and it was Without a Cause. Suffocation came there, played that as well.
Yes, they did.
Mudfoot.
I remember.
They were some random band.
Yeah.
And a couple other bands. So the whole night, there's maybe, I don't know. The place was cavernous.
Yeah.
The way they had set up, because they had put a bar in the middle of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So there was maybe 150 people, but in a place that big, 150 people get lost in the corner. So I don't remember if we knew from jump that Suffocation wasn't showing up.
I don't remember, but I just remember just noticing. I'm like, they're not here yet.
Yeah,
and we're all setting up like on the drum riser, and usually they would already be here, and everybody would be setting up in front of the drum riser.
Yeah, and I just remember I also remember the guy who did sound at the time, Joe Starr. Fuck you. Yeah, I know you work for Irving fucking Plaza now as the fucking sound, as the monitor guy. You were a cocksucker back then. Let me tell you, because his whole deal was if you didn't tip him $50, he'd walk away from the board.
Oh.
That was the known thing. If you didn't tip Joe Starr $50, he just walked away from the board. So whatever the board was set at, that was your sound. So if you had a whole time sitting there fucking with with someone else, other bands like Levels, that's what you dealt with out front of house. And I just remember at that point, we were actually on technically before Suffocation was going to go on. And at that point, I don't remember how we went over. I don't remember much about the show. But I do remember
you weren't that well received, if I remember correctly, which led to what you're about to say.
So we get off stage, we're last song, and Walter gets on the mic, and what did you say?
Said, hey, the joke's on you, Suffocation's not even here. Or something to that effect.
And the club never told the audience that Suffocation wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
They were just like, we're going to take these motherfuckers' money and run.
And they were not thrilled at this prospect.
No, they weren't. A lot of people were like, what? Huh?
Yep.
Huh?
You ain't seen them walking around the club yet, now have you?
No, you haven't. So, you actually have been in a ton of fucking bands. I mean, I remember the first thing you got together when you actually played and sang, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I did.
And I remember I was actually quite impressed, wow, he's singing full verses and choruses and playing guitar.
Yeah.
Because at that point, most of my friends didn't do that.
And that came about out of necessity, because I was in a band. We were called Martyr, and I was playing with a guy with a drummer in Peekskill. So we were rehearsing in his basement. It was me, him, and a bass player and a guitar player, and we were just writing these songs, and we basically just writing these songs for about 2 years, trying to find a singer, couldn't find a singer, and at this point the guitar player and bass player had left, and we had found another bass player, and oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We found another bass player, but no second guitar player at that point. And around that point, I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna fucking sing, because I'm already sick of playing these songs, and I want to do something. So, right around the time I decided to sing, I'm walking around the village and I run into Absol from Crisis, the guitar player for Crisis. He was, a friend of mine at the time. Still a good friend of mine. And I ran into him because he used to work at Bleecker Bob's, and I ran into him near there. So we were sitting down, on a stoop somewhere, by NYU, and he's we were just talking about whatever, and he had mentioned something about CBs and, you know, blah, 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 and that's why we're doing this show ourselves. I'm like, what show? He's like, oh, we're playing on August 20-something or whatever at the time. It was about 6 weeks away from this point. And I'm like, is there, you know, can you throw me on that show? He's like, you think you guys be ready? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, cool. You guys are on the show? I'm like, bet. So I told the guys, I'm like, oh, hey, remember when I was talking about how I'm going to sing? We have a show in 6 weeks, so let's start writing lyrics. So I wrote, we had 6 songs. I wrote lyrics for 5 of them, and then the last one was just an instrumental. And the bass player, you know, the subsequent bass player we had was not nearly as good as the other guy. So the show itself was you know, the show itself was overall was fun, but for us was kind of eh. You know, the bass player's rig kept going out, and my drummer, he had broken his heel like a week before, so he was like up to his eyeballs on painkillers just to play the show. And that was the only show we ended up playing, because then after that show I got rid of the bass player. We'd gone into the studio with Bumblefoot, now world famous guitar player Bumblefoot. At the time he was just Ronnie, recording out of, you know, some basement in Brooklyn. And we recorded, I think it was like 3 or 4 songs, whatever, and we recorded those, handed those out on some cassettes, and then just kind of just fell apart after that, because my drummer, you know, he's a tattoo artist. He's like, look, I have a job offer for, you know, to start tattooing in Connecticut, so I can't do this anymore. All right, congratulations. So, but the funny thing about that recording situation was we were recording it, you know, at Ronnie's house, or, you know, his basement, whatever it was, and so I'm getting ready to do vocals, and he's like, you know, he's like, all right, check the microphone. I'm like, all right, check! Like crazy loud. And I do that, and all of a sudden I see his head pop up. And he goes, are you going to sing that loud the entire time? Yeah, probably. All right, hang on. And I see him fiddling around. And he's like, okay, go ahead. So I do the song. He's like, all right, you want to come in and listen? Yeah, sure. I come in. My drummer and his girlfriend are laughing their asses off, because they're like, when you would check the mic, every red light on the board that could light up, lit up. So he had to like adjust all these levels so you don't like completely destroy his equipment.
You brick walled everything, basically.
Yeah, seriously. So, you know, it was a fun time, and, you know, that's how I first started playing guitar and singing. But, like, I'm barely a guitar player, I'm barely a songwriter, and, like, my lyrical writing abilities is just not there. I have no confidence whatsoever in my lyrics.
You were also part of Inhuman for a while as well.
I was. Because then after that, I've been friends with Mike almost as long as you. Because I had met him when his band at the time, Confusion, was playing with Sheer Terror at CB's. And I think that it was either that show or the...
Summer 1992.
Or the Monday Night Showcase Without a Cause did was one of my first times to ever go to CB's. So I met him back then, and he had actually wanted me to try out for Confusion after they got rid of Mike Price, if I remember correctly. So I came down, and I was into it, but, you know, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. So then he had come down, me and him and a couple of the random people had jammed together with, like, a, you know, an old song or two of mine at the time for, like, the very, very, very first, you know, attempt at Inhuman. And that went nowhere, so he went and did Inhuman with, you know, the guys who ended up becoming Inhuman, him, you know, Nick, Jane Ackley, and Larry, and that was Inhuman for a while. And then he calls me up and he says, Jay and Larry quit. Do you want to play guitar? I'm like, sure. And he gave me a tape of something they had just recorded, which ended up becoming the, you know, half of the first full-length album. And I did that for 3 years, about 3.5 years, from 97 till about 2000. And we recorded 2 albums and did a U.S. tour, did an East Coast tour, did a few shows in the Midwest, and had a lot of fun. You know, it was a lot of fun traveling around the country, and you know how it is. Yeah. It's like, where am I going to sleep? I don't know. I'm going to unroll my sleeping bag under this kitchen table in Seattle.
Smart. You were like me. You were smart enough to bring a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
A lot of my guys never brought sleeping bags. Why are you bringing a sleeping bag? Because you never know where the fuck.
See, I learned that the hard way, because the first extended thing we did was like a few shows in the Midwest with All Out War. So after our show in Chicago, you know, it was kind of cold, and
Yeah.
For some reason, the guy whose house we were crashing out, he wouldn't like let anybody sleep on the couch. Everybody was like huddled in one room, and I was like on the floor under a towel in the living room. And it was the middle of the night. I woke up, and whoever was supposed to be on the couch wasn't there. So I said, "Fuck this! I'm on the couch." And I ended up sleeping the rest of the night on the couch.
That's funny because I remember my first extended weekend out. You know, it was up in the northeast somewhere, and it was with H2O. We ended up staying at somebody's house, and none of us had brought anything to sleep with.
Yeah.
And I wound up fucking pulling the guy's rug up.
Yeah.
And sleeping like basically burritoing in the rug, just like holy fuck, it's like whatever it was, it's like October, November, and it was freezing fucking cold. And from that point on, even if I knew we were staying at a hotel, I brought a fucking sleeping bag because I was like, there's a good chance there's 5 of us in the bed plus 2 people traveling with us.
Yep.
There's 4 spots in the bed.
Yep.
I'm just gonna take the floor out of default. Fuck
Exactly.
it, you know. It's like, oh, I'm getting 2 pillows. No, you're getting 1 pillow. I get the other pillow, asshole.
Yeah. So
After that, in a myriad of bands after that.
yeah. Well, like Inhuman, it was. It was a good time, but then, like personality conflicts at the time was just starting to weigh on me, and I just wasn't having as much fun as I used to, and around that time I don't remember how, like might have been like an ad in the Aquarian or the East Coast Rocker or something. I'd come across this band from New Jersey called Flatter Society, which was a lot more like punk rock, like Southern Cal Pennywise.
It was like a Bad Religion-ish.
Bad Religion, Pennywise kind of thing.
Yeah.
Flatter Society, they named themselves after a Bad Religion song. So, that's gotta, that should give you an idea of what that band sounded like. And I had a lot of fun with that. And we had a lot of really good shows. And, we could have done something, but, I ended up getting kicked out of that band because the singer, Scott, they were playing like certain kind of shows before I came along, and then after I came along, the shows kind of like in quality, because like all of a sudden I was able to do like get them better shows and doing more, and like
yeah, you were using your connection
exactly, and like I guess Scott wasn't appreciating that like this dude he just joined the band and all of a sudden he's getting all this shit done, boom 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 boom, and it was Scott's band, but you know what? We're both trying to get to the same place. Why are you trying to fight me on like how we do it? And to this day, I still never got like a concrete answer as to why they were kicking me out. It was just like, oh, you have a bad attitude. What bad attitude? I'm trying to
make shit happen. Yeah.
I'm trying to make fucking shit happen, and like, so whatever. So they ended up kicking me out of that band. So, and the funny thing is. And I heard about this afterwards when I joined my next band, Friendly Fire, and their singer Jordan, he was running shows at another random venue, the Temple in Brooklyn, which was a basement of a Jewish synagogue somewhere in like Bensonhurst or something that had shows. And the room itself was a great room, it was a great layout, the stage was good, it was a good height, it was great for DIY shows. So him and his 2 partners were running shows, out of this temple. So this place was just called the Temple. And he had told me afterwards, because at some point he had started a little imprint called Temple Recordings. So it was going to be, Friendly Fire. We put out a record. It was on Temple Recordings through Blackout Records. So it was Friendly Fire, our friends at a loss from the Bronx. I forget who else was going to be a part of that, but. He had told me at one point that he was talking to Bill Wilson, and he says, oh, there's this band, Flatter Society, what are you thinking of him? Should I sign him? Jordan remembered, the story with Flatter Society and how they fucked me for no apparent good reason, and he says, don't bother with Flatter Society, they're fucking, they can't keep a lineup, they're jerk-offs, blah, 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 and Bill Wilson was like, okay, tossed it. Meanwhile, if I was still in the band at that point, we could have gone the H2O career path of, straight that way, starting out on Blackout and then doing whatever from there. Had potential, but you shot yourself in the fucking foot. So, cheers to that.
I remember those Temple shows were actually, some of them are hit or miss. I do remember sometimes. I remember you guys shot a video. Was it for Friendly Fire? Or
It was for Friendly Fire, yeah.
And you were like, "We're shooting a video. Lenny, jump off the stage."
No, that was it. Yeah, we.
And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, for friend. No, actually, I didn't tell you to jump off the stage.
You did tell me to jump off the stage.
You did that on your own.
No, you said jump off the stage. So
I don't remember this.
I do.
See, here's the thing. So so I joined this band Friendly Fire because they had lost their guitar player and they were playing a show in the Bronx. So they were getting rid of their guitar player, and Jordan says, "Hey, we're getting rid of G. Would you have any interest in joining Friendly Fire?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And at this show, me and Gary Muttley had gone, and again at the time the Bronx were like having their own scene that was very like up and coming, and they had a couple of random venues. So there was this show at a beach club. So me and Muttley were like standing on the side of the stage, and Jordan, he's now a comic, but at the time he was just like, "Hey, look at these two guys. Don't they remind you of the two old Muppets up in the balcony?" And so we had a huge laugh about that. And so anyway, I joined Friendly Fire, and we recorded this full length for Blackout, and the recording was just, I'll go into that in a second. So we had a record release show at the Temple. I don't remember telling you this.
You did.
But I remember, and I don't remember actually seeing it at the time because I was too busy, headbanging and flying my fat corpse around the stage. So I was watching a videotape of it afterwards, and all of a sudden I see, like here's the stage, and I see Lenny just kind of come to the side of the stage and just go boop, 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 zoom, and just take out a whole bunch of fucking teenagers. And I had to keep rewinding that at home because it was so fucking funny. The fucked up part
about that was I remember if I remember correctly, because my whole move back then to jump up stage was the front tuck, and I land, I fucking explode onto people. And I think I was teching for you at the time, so I go to get back up on the stage, and I all of a sudden feel a bunch of little 15-year-old fists tagging me in the ribs. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, and so
away, children.
No, well, the fucked up thing was I just do one of these. I fucking swing both fucking elbows. I could feel faces underneath the elbows, like smash, like get out of here. Kid.
Oh, so you're probably the cause of that one kid who had a bloody lip and he's on the stage and we're just like, oh, you lost a tooth or something.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, dude, if you're gonna start fucking putting your hands on people, you better fucking be prepared.
That's probably one of my favorite shows I ever played. It was 400 people and the place was fucking packed.
Yeah, for that one, yeah, I do remember that.
It was packed for us, which is That was a lot of fun, but the recording of that record, oh my god, it's just okay, when you record drums first, right?
Yeah.
And you record drums for a second song.
Yeah.
And then a third song. You do all the drums first, right?
Yeah.
Okay? No! We didn't do that for this recording because we had we had Carl from Killing Time producing and some engineer who was fresh out of engineering school. So, we called him Teddy Punches because he was always fucking up the punch-ins. So we kept calling him Teddy Punches. You kept getting fired every hour, he'd fuck something up. Teddy, you're fucking fired. Why are you still here? So anyway, we record drums for one fucking song, and then, okay, let's start the bass. And then the guitar, and then the other guitar. It's just why? We have 9 more drum tracks to record. No, we record drums, then bass, then rhythm guitar, and then drums again. And by that point, Adam, my drummer, is cold. He has to warm back up again. It's just it was the most ass backwards fucking way of recording.
I've never heard anything.
It was the dumbest fucking recording I've ever been. It was so ridiculous.
Some people are like that, they have their own set way, but I've never heard of anyone fucking doing drums, bass, guitars, now vocals. It's are you out of your fucking...
No, the vocals were last, but we did all the bass tracks first, and then started over for the next song, and then the third song.
Yeah.
All right, so after a while, Jordan ended up quitting Friendly Fire. He, we used to bust on him quite a bit, and I guess finally at some point he got butthurt about it, and he ended up quitting. So, our later stuff was turning into more of a metal direction.
Yeah.
And so we got this great singer named Dan, this kid from Long Island. But again, by that point, the personality conflicts, I was getting sick to death of these people. And we actually played this one show. I think we were still called Friendly Fire at that point, but with Dan singing. And I was just in a bad fucking mood, and we were like, oh, this is a song for our new EP. We might have just changed our name to Set the Flames. I don't remember. But anyway, he goes, this is our song from our new EP. What's the EP called again? And I was like, Five Guys Who Hate Each Other. And I just started to the next song. So then we played a couple of shows, and then our drummer quit. And so, he was an excellent. He's probably the best drummer I've ever played with. So he quit, and we were looking for another...
Adam?
Adam, yeah. We were looking for another drummer, and I found this one dude from Jersey. Not nearly as good, but there was something there that I felt like, could work. We could pull something, pull something out of it that could make it work. And these guys, we tried them out, and the guys were just like, he sucks, whatever. And I was just like, why the fuck am I killing myself for this band if I can't even fucking stand these guys anymore? I'm done. So I told him, look, I quit. I'm done. And I got in touch with this drummer, and I was like, look, I just quit that band, but like, I want to start something new. I want to start something new with you. How do you feel about that? And he's like, all right, cool. It's, so we started playing together. It ended up becoming a band called Everything's Ruined. More of like a getting back to my actual roots of music, which is heavy metal, thrash metal kind of stuff. So we were playing that kind of stuff, and had a lot of great shows with that band as well. A lot of shows. Played a lot of shows with that band. We had shows every single weekend for like an 8-month stretch. At least 1 or 2 shows. Sometimes the entire weekend, just for like 9 months straight. We played a lot of fucking shows. Played with a lot of great bands, and with that band, played another of my all-time favorite shows. We ended up playing at the Chance, opening for Testament, and this is right when most of the original lineup had gotten back together. And met Alex Skolnick beforehand, and they were really nice. He was really nice, and then they were fucking crushing it. They were so good, and I'm standing there just like in awe of them playing, and it like hit me. I'm like, holy shit! I just opened up for fucking Testament. Like I grew up in these guys, and that was an amazing show. And it was another one where we did a lot of traveling, all around the Northeast and some of the Midwest, and eventually, as it tends to happen, personality conflicts, started coming to a head, and that band ended up falling apart as well. And that original lineup where we put out an EP, that lineup, they all quit on me. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat. They quit on me. Whatever, it happens, and ended up getting a new lineup together. That's when I ended up singing and playing guitar again for a little bit, because we had this one singer. We had a show booked. We were ready to play, and then he was from Ohio. He flaked on us, moved back to Ohio like a week before the show. Like, oh my God, why? So that's when I started playing guitar and singing again. And I did that for like a few shows. But again, I have no like confidence in my lyric writing ability. So like after a while, I was like, we need a singer, because like I have such a like mental block writing lyrics. They're not that good. I don't particularly like, sometimes I like singing, playing guitar. Sometimes I don't. And if I could write better lyrics, I'd probably just do it. So we ended up getting this guy Mike singing for us, and that lineup was a lot of fun. It was me, this guy Mike, James, also known as the whitest person I've ever met in my entire life. Mm-hmm. Gary was a stunt bass player. He played with me for a little bit, and then I had this guy Joe playing bass, and had a couple of different drummers. But then I kind of got sick of beating that horse with Everything's Ruined, so I put that to rest, and then started a band called Leech with Tom from Aphlis, Joe from Everything's Ruined, and then we had gotten Scotty from Hellbound to play guitar, and Christian from Severed to play to sing, and that was a great strong lineup. But then as things tend to happen, we play a bunch of shows, rinse and repeat, play a bunch of shows, and then people start. More personality conflicts come to a head, and then that band fell apart. And then I was just like, what? I'm kind of sick of, like Gary put it best. He's like, you're at your best when you're in charge and just running shit, as opposed to like trying to make things equal, and and then everybody tries to be equal, and then things just come to head with everybody's different personalities. So I was just like, you know what, fuck this. I need to do something more my style. So then I put together Unrelenting Force, which is my current band, current-ish band, I should say. And we had, the original concept was thrash metal with like a Judas Priest style vocalist. And I had that. And it was going great. Until you realize the dude who's singing for you is like legit crazy. Like oh, he's crazy and he's a little wacky. No, this dude has like legitimately like
Issues.
He's got legitimate issues. To the point where like we ended up kicking him out because it's just like you were like the absolute right singer for what I need, for what I had planned for this band, but you're just the wrong person. And like he's the kind of sociopath, literal sociopath, that like nothing was ever his fault. Nothing. He literally just everything was everybody else's fault. He couldn't hold a job because of something that wasn't his fault.
The dog did it.
The dog did it. Never had money for rehearsal. Was just a pain in the fucking ass to have to deal with. If he was this much more stable, he could have been our singer, But like, I'll give you an example, like a typical situation with him. How like, of course he didn't have money for rehearsal, so I covered for him, fine. And then the next week, he comes in with actual money this time, but say this is a $20 bill. So he goes, it's okay, everybody, pay up, it's, X amount of money each. So he hands me a $20 bill. He's like, you got change? And I says, motherfucker, you still owe me for last week. And he does this. And begrudgingly gives me the fucking 20. I'm like, this is what I have to deal with fucking week in and week out. And it's just a lot of headaches with this dude. So after a while, we're just like, this guy gotta go. We can't fucking deal with him. So we got rid of him. I mean, like, to get rid of like the perfect singer for your band because he's the absolute wrong fucking person. Oh my god,
that's.
So we got another singer, this guy Andreas, who like he actually like we grew up in the same neighborhood. We grew up in Washington Heights together. He was in a band with a pain in the ass I knew from the Heights, and like we always like kind of like peripherally like were almost meeting each other, but we never actually met until he joined this band. And, we play a lot of great shows together. We recorded a great album. I love that album. It's, it's one of my, crowning achievements. And then last year, we played the best show I ever played in my entire life. We played at Gramercy Theater, opening for a reunited Demolition Hammer. And don't mind the bootleg. I got this at Generation Records. So, we played this show. And it's going to lead into something we're going to talk about shortly, about how, like, I kept telling people, so we got the show, and people are asking, oh, how many tickets you have to sell? Son, none. We don't do that. We don't sell fucking tickets. I'm not a fucking Girl Scout. Again, we're going to talk about that. But, we played this show, and I kept telling people, buy tickets in advance, get tickets at Ticketmaster. It's going to sell out. Week of, the show sells out. I'm like, the show is sold out. Within an hour, I got like a dozen people messaging me, yo, you got tickets to sell? No! I only had 2 tickets to sell. That was the 2 tickets I got from me and my wife that I got the day they went on sale before we even got the damn show. And those are long gone. So, if you didn't get tickets, you're assed out. You got to figure it out on your own at this point. And it was the greatest show I ever played. Playing, just an incredible fucking show. It's just, I'm still in awe of the amazing show it was. And then after that, it was kind of like, I kind of hit my peak at that point. It was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to put this whole music thing to rest at this point. So we played 2 more shows after that. And then Andreas ended up quitting because he, was getting real busy with work, and so he didn't have the time to do it anymore. So he left, and like when in New York did it become more difficult to find a singer than it is a drummer? Like, if I lost my drummer, Roach, I had, like, 3 other drummers I could have played with. And, in fact, he was gonna go to China. There was, talk of him going to China at one point for 6 months for something music related because he's a music teacher and he's a a very good learned musician. So he was gonna go to China at one point, and I had a drummer lined up, but then he ended up not going to China, so that ended up not being an issue. But if I ended up losing Roach, I had drummers lined up that I could have worked with, but I couldn't find a fucking singer to save my life. So just I was just kind of done at that point. So like at this point, earlier in the year we were gonna rehearse, and I was just I didn't want to play anymore, and I was like, look, guys, I need to take some time off because I'm burned out. I need to take some time off. We need to just pause and see like where we can find a singer in another few months, because I don't want to beat this dead horse. I don't want to play anymore. So we've been on hiatus since, and I kind of like have not looked at my guitar since June, February, whenever it was we last rehearsed. And
so you're sort of in a kind of semi-retired.
I'm semi-retired from music at the moment. As far as playing shows, I don't want to play another show ever again in my life. I'm done playing shows. If and when, it'll be Unrelenting Force, because this is pretty much my baby. So if and when I start doing music again, it's going to be Unrelenting Force, but I'm going to kind of go the Dark Throne route, meaning I would write and record music and never play shows. Like, playing shows to me is just so unappealing right now. I'd gone to a show some months ago down the block from my house in Yonkers, and
Smoky Tooth thing?
No, yeah, the Smoky Tooth reunion thing. I thought I was gonna it would kind of charge me up to yeah, I want to do this again. It just kind of reinforced how unpleasant the thought of playing a show is to me at this moment. Lugging my gear around and showing up to some dive. Maybe it'll be some people there. I am just not interested anymore. So if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna write, record, release it, not play shows. But now that I have this new job, I definitely don't even have the time to play shows in any kind of remotely active band, even if I wanted to at this point.
Selling any gear?
I had sold some stuff. I had sold that badass Marshall. Remember that beast of a Marshall? I actually regret getting rid of that thing because that thing sounded so good. Sean Smith, I hope you're taking care of that thing because that thing sounded so good.
I sold my orange to
Sean from Rejuvenate. Black Sean from Rejuvenate.
Yeah.
He's the one I sold it to.
I actually wound up selling my entire orange rig to Len Carmichael.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he told me.
Because and I think he wound up flipping it because he needed money to get his studio off the ground, which I told him, I was like, go right ahead, dude. It's whatever you need to fucking...
You loaned me that amp at an Inhuman show once, because
yes.
I remember liking it so much, I'm like, bro, I need to borrow that amp one night. So I borrowed it at a CB's gig.
Yes.
And
there's a picture of me... You have blonde hair? I think I have blonde hair.
Yeah.
Because the 90s
and the pink guitar.
Yes. 90s was a weird time for fucking, bleaching out hair and wearing...
I had the bleached fucking spiked hair and I wore glasses at the time, so imagine black Malcolm X glasses and bleached blonde hair. It was terrible. I'm surprised I didn't get shot dead for just poor fucking style choices.
Oh my god. So recently, I've poked my head back into playing shows again and whatever, and I look back at, what we were doing in the 90s. And I'm not being the old guy, but you could play the most random fucking gigs in the most random places and the place would be mobbed.
Yeah, that was, talking about playing all these shows with Everything's Ruined, we were always at great shows elsewhere. And even with Inhuman and Flat Earth, all these bands, we were playing great out-of-state shows. One of my favorite shows with Flat Earth was Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. Has anybody in the room ever heard of Birdsboro, Pennsylvania? No, you haven't. We get there in a snowstorm. There's 300 people there. Shit like that.
Well, Pennsylvania's always, even today, Pennsylvania still sort of has a...
I've never had a bad show in Pennsylvania.
No, neither have I.
I've never had a bad show out of state, period. At all.
I've had some, but...
Maybe a clunk, a bit of a dud of a show, on tour, but, I'm hard-pressed to even think of where that is. Somewhere in California, I don't remember, but it was a random last-second show with Inhuman when we were on tour at Shutdown, and it was literally, us and Shutdown and, these 3 random punk rock kids who showed up. That was, like one of the only duds I remember being.
I
like,
played a matinee with H2O in fucking Reno, Nevada, and I probably
Reno was another dud for me.
Reno was not a good fucking joint, and it's like this was an H2O had that second record out, you know, and we had played shows on that run where we were doing like 300, 400, 500, 600 people depending on town. And it was like, Reno, Nevada, 10 people. You're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really weird. It seems like now, John Scandato had put something up online a few months ago saying, is there too many bands out now? I said, I don't think it's too many bands. I think the internet has exposed that there's this many bands. Where before...
You had to search for the quality stuff.
Yeah, like good bands got out, like cream rose to the top in that section, and I think with the internet, it sort of leveled the playing field to a certain degree where now it's like everybody here, and now you have to wade through fucking hundreds and hundreds of bands of shit. And I'm not saying what I'm doing is, I play at this point for fun. I know I'm not going on tour. I'm not going. I have a career.
Yeah, exactly.
I do it because I don't know any better, I guess is the best way I could say it.
Yeah.
And it's something to do. It's my hobby. I have this equipment. I have the know-how. Going to use what I know. The problem is, though, it's like, back in the 90s, you could have a bunch of just like 4 or 5 local bands, and you'd have anywhere from 300 to 500 people in a fucking place that couldn't hold 300 to 500 people.
Man.
Now, you have places that fucking can hold this many, and the local shows do shit. And,
people have gotten lazy.
Well, yeah, I would say that to a certain degree. I mean, I always joke around, and sorry, Mike Scandato, I'm gonna fucking bust your balls in this. I would say, my sister and Mike both work at HBO, and she's like, "Oh, I saw Mike Scandato." I was like, "Did he hand you a flyer?" and the thing is, Mike kept it real. It didn't matter, what you thought about Mike. He'd have that fucking piece of paper, shove it in your fucking hand.
Yeah.
And there's sort of like, now it's an event, now you send out event pages, and it's a little different now. And
there isn't the same kind of work ethic, to sound like,
the old guys.
The old curmudgeons and shit, but it's not the same work ethic.
No.
It's like, let's like actual promote and hand out flyers and let people know one way or another. And now it's just like, click on Facebook. Oh, I promoted. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. And
especially this, Facebook. There's no fucking reach now anyway, unless you pay the fucking promoted fees or whatever, And
that doesn't even always do what it says it's gonna do.
Oh, fuck that.
I did that once, and I was like, it really made no fucking difference either or. I was like, I paid $10 for fucking like a week's of fucking bullshit. I was like, yeah, this really didn't reach anyone that I couldn't have reached by doing a little fucking copy paste and click. Which leads me to another thing which I've been seeing happen more and more, and I'm I don't want to, you can name the places. I've been seeing it happen with fucking a handful of clubs.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. If you sell tickets for a show, you are a fucking chump. Period. You are not a fucking Girl Scout. You're a fucking musician. Act like it.
And like we said, there you go. There's a couple of clubs that are doing it.
There's nothing that drives me more fucking insane, and I need more vodka. There's nothing that drives me more insane. Oh, there it is. Oh.
No.
You want more?
Yeah, there's another bottle.
There's nothing that drives me insane more than, and I alluded to this for the Demolition Hammer show, how, if, okay, look, I'm guilty of it. I've done it in the past.
I did it in 1991, 92.
But you know what? There comes a time where it's just like, yo, why the fuck am I, like, doing your goddamn job?
So you had the other bottle. You twat waffle.
The peanut gallery talk.
It comes to a point where it's just like, why the fuck am I doing your goddamn job? If I'm selling tickets for you, why the fuck are you fucking here? And like, and then they could come with the bullshit. They could try to sell it somehow and be like, oh, it's gonna be this, that, and the other. Nah, son, you're just too fucking lazy to do actual goddamn promotion and relying on us to sell tickets for you. Fuck that shit. I'm not a goddamn fucking Girl Scout. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bands these days
that co-sign to it.
That just fucking buy it hook, line, and sinker. Oh, if I can sell 25 tickets, I'll get I'll get X amount back. No, man. It's just like, there's nothing that bothers me more. It's just like, you get a good show. How many tickets you got to sell? None, son, because I don't do that shit. When everything's ruined. We were playing at Santos Party House with Job for a Cowboy. And, people were asking me, oh, how many tickets you got to sell? Fucking none. Why? Because I worked with a goddamn promoter that actually knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to fucking resort to that shit. Shout out to Rich Hall. Thank you for that.
Rich Hall.
Or when we played with Demolition Hammer, how many tickets you have to sell for that? Just the 2 that I bought before I even got on the show. Why? Because I don't fucking do that. Shout out to Adam from Adam Fatchler. Thank you for that.
Shit, shout out to fucking Tyler King.
Shout out to Tyler, who did shit right back in the day. Shout out to Ozzy at Gussie's right now, who, Gussie's is a room about the size of Lenny's fucking living room. And I have
a big living room.
I've had a ton of fun shows at Gussie's. I actually make fucking money at Gussie's, okay? As opposed to these other places that, make you sell tickets for them and you still don't fucking make money. How the fuck does that fucking happen?
Oh,
fuck that.
You want to know why, though? Because they said, oh, well, if you sell enough tickets, I'll get you on another show.
Yeah, exactly. And people fall for that shit all the fucking time. So then, you deal with, and the thing is, it's like, it's lazy, random promoters who have come, oh, you know what? Here's a good story. With Unrelenting Force, we were playing at some Brooklyn venue. I don't even remember the name of this place. So we were playing with a band called Armageddon, which is Christopher Amott from Arch Enemy's new band. Well, new at the time. I think they've since broken up. But he had moved to New York because they're from Sweden. So he moved to New York and he got an Armageddon together in New York. So they were doing US. They put out a record. They were doing a US tour, and I had asked the promoter. I got in touch with the promoter. I says, "Hey, can we get on this Armageddon show?" He says, well, can you sell X amount of tickets? I'm like, I don't do that. So, good luck. A couple of weeks later, he gets back to me and says, hey, forget the ticket sales. Can you play the show? Okay, yeah, sure. It was a Thursday night. So we play the show. And we had, a good amount of people showing up for us. We were up first. We get off the stage, and some rock band, they definitely look like a rock band, just because they were all styled, and they had their stage set up and whatever. So they're getting on stage, and they're setting up, and then we hear this ruckus happening by the door, and then they start coming off stage. Apparently, whoever that other band was, and I don't even remember what they're called, because who cares, they didn't sell enough tickets, so they were told they couldn't fucking play, and they were getting their gear off the stage. Nah, son. They were chumps for selling tickets in the first place, for allowing themselves to be yanked off the show like that while they were on stage. It'd be like, okay, you want to fucking yank us off the show? Then give me all the money back so I can refund everybody. They would have fucking played the show in a heartbeat if they fucking pulled that move. It's shit like that. And whoever that promoter was, I never even saw the guy again after that. So it's like random people who think they're promoters fucking doing lazy shit like this, and then established promoters who've been around for a while. You know who you are. Fucking pulling this shit, and the worst thing about that is when an established band or at least people he knew from back in the day, showing up to a show that they didn't sell enough tickets and getting strong armed for the rest of the money for the amount of tickets they were supposed to sell. It's just like, you're really going to do people dirty like that, who you've known for 15, 20 years? Really? Man, fuck you. Fuck off with that shit. You're fucking, sucking at Nicky fucking Camp's fucking wig. Fuck you.
There you go.
I fucking hate ticket selling with an absolute passion. Dude. And it is so fucking pathetic. And it's taken hold so fucking deep that, these fucking new bands just accept it as fact. And it's just like, Oh yeah, I'll sell tickets for you for a fucking local show on a Tuesday. Man, fuck that shit, a local show on a Tuesday. Fuck you selling tickets. Eat my ass.
Dude,
I have strong opinions on the matter.
the problem was that, like, I remember selling tickets, like, back in the day, fucking in the early 90s, and I was like, why am I selling fucking tickets?
Yeah.
I'm not getting no money back. You know, and if I'm, you know, or like, oh, we'll give you $1, I'm like, I sold a fucking $10 ticket in the early 90s. You know, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, seriously?
The state of music in New York is just absolutely fucking abysmal, and it's taken a steep nosedive literally in just the last few years. Because like when Unrelenting Force had just started out, things were really fucking strong, and I remember going one night to a show with the guys in my band, and I was just like, fuck, I love like the metal scene in New York. It's so fucking strong. And then like, you know, the fucking venues have dried up. There's a couple of venues that are still around. Half of them, or 3/4 of them, want to make you fucking sell tickets. A lot of the bands I knew back then have like just kind of disappeared, and it's just like, what the fuck is left? It's really just been absolutely fucking just disgusting in the last couple of years. And this is one of the reasons why like I don't want to play shows, because I don't want to fucking play this game. I don't want to have to like, you know, try to be a goddamn Girl Scout. I'm 43 fucking years old. If you're relying on me to do your job, I don't want any part of it. You know, that's why I'd rather, you know, Fenriz, you have the right idea. Just record records, don't play any shows, because playing shows fucking sucks. So anyway, to sum up on that point, if you sell tickets for a show, you're a chump. Don't be a goddamn Girl Scout. Have some goddamn fucking like dignity, all right? And if you're a fucking promoter that asks bands to sell tickets for you, go fuck yourself. You're a fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. No amount of bullshit that you try to fucking sell them will justify your goddamn laziness. Fuck you.
All right. We had a long break between this thing and now. Yeah, there's a lot of things talked about. I have Dominican Day Parade.
Dominican Day Parade. So here's how Dominican Day Parade came about. Okay, I'm gonna do my Harley Flanagan imitation. I'm gonna go, Dominican Day Parade is me and him, or Jimmy Gestapo, whoever of those two said it. Dominican Day Parade came about years ago during like the Inhuman days, and me and him would get on the phone and we talk for hours on end like chicks, and we just bullshit about whatever. And then one day he goes to me, "Yo, B, we should start like blowing up some band that like doesn't exist. Just keep talking about a band that does not exist, and like just make people think they're a real band." And I'm like, all right, bet. And then he came up, he was like, "We just call the band Dominican Day Parade." Bet. So then, you know, fast forward to about 97 and the first Inhuman record. And I come to his house, I give him a copy. I'm like, "Look at the thanks list." He opens it up, he looks at the thanks list, and he starts laughing his ass off. Sure enough, Dominican Day Parade are in like the band part of the thank you list. Just like, here we go, we're about to start fucking blowing up a band that doesn't exist. So 2 years later, 1999, second Inhuman record, Rebellion. I get my copy, I give him a copy. I'm like, "Look again." He looks, and he falls out of his chair. He's laughing. Sure enough, Dominican Day Parade. And the even better part about that is, and I'm going to bust in your balls a little bit, Mike, for this. We're at Fastlane rehearsing, and we have our boxes of CDs, and we're all looking. And Joe, bass player at the time, now the guitar player, he says, "Dominican Day Parade, who is that? Is that a real band?" And Mike, he swears he's the king of the underground and knows who everybody is. He's like, "Yeah, that's a real band." And I'm standing there like, "No, Mike, that wasn't a real band. Okay, stop." So, a couple of years after that, after him and Armando had a bit of a thing and they reconciled, and we're on the phone one day, and he's just like, "So me and Mondo, we got a new band going. Guess what the name is?" I'm like, "B, really?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Dominican Day Parade?" "Yep." So about 5 or 6 years before it actually became a band, we were like gassing up a band that didn't exist that ended up finally existing at some point.
Yeah, we ran with it. It was, the best way I could describe it was it was like rain like sound trains or some shit like that. I don't know what it was, but I was like, "What about Dominican Day Parade?" And mine was like, "Dude, I fucking love it, bro." Sorry, that's my best Armando. And it was like, all right, sure, let's fucking call the band Dominican Day Parade. Why not? And
it was a fun band.
It was a fun band. We did like 12 shows. We broke up.
Yeah.
You know, we played 90% of our shows at Manitoba's.
Manitoba's was another special place in my heart. For one night, me, him, and his late brother, who I had just met. There was the one time I met him, Sean. Me, him, Allison, whoever you were seeing at the time, and Sean had gone out drinking. And drink we did.
Yeah.
Oh, we drank a lot.
We drank a lot.
And we were going to several places. And we ended up at Manitoba's. We ended up in the basement of Manitoba's. And he headbutt the light above the pool table. So we were in darkness for a good while. There was like blue like night lights that was the only light in the room. I ended up like throwing up on the staircase. It's a little spurt because carbonation is not my friend, but yeah, a quick little, and you know that was it. And afterwards, Allison went away. He went off with his chick to wherever, and I was left with Sean. So we get in my car, and he says to me, I had said I was going to give him a ride home. We get into my car, and I'm like, where am I taking you again? He's like, 93rd Street? I'm like, oh yeah, Lenny's house. Yeah. And he's always, or as far as you can take me? I really should not have been driving that night. I was fucked up. And I says, it's probably best if I don't go further than the 59th Street Bridge, because I lived in Astoria at the time, so I could just come up from there. He's like, that's fine. So I dropped him off underneath the 59th Street Bridge, and then like somehow made it home to Astoria from there. And that was my one memory of his brother Sean, and he like immediately liked him from that one night. And
the funny thing about
God bless
that, the funny thing about Sean is we were playing pool down at Manitoba's that night, right? Mm. And one of the guys, one of the DMS guys, he goes, "Is your brother a cop?" I'm like, "No, why?" His gun's showing. My brother Sean had his mid-frame 40 cal Glock tucked in his waistband in his back, and while he's playing pool, one of the guys comes like, "You brother a cop?" I'm like, "No, why?" It's like, his gun's showing. I'm like, "Yeah, we all carry guns, dude." You know?
Yeah.
And he was like, all right.
This is New York. Why are you surprised that someone's carrying a gun?
A gun. I was like, really?
Bro, I'm in Washington Heights one day, unrelated to this, and like I'm at a stoplight behind some guy. I was on my way to my mother's house, and some guy is like talking to the guy in front of me in the car, and I'm about to honk on the horn, but the Lord Almighty himself said, "This is not a good idea," and he signaled this to me with a gust of wind that blew up his shirt, and I see the gun in the guy's belt, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave him be. He can speak all he wants because it's just a red light. I'm not in that much of a rush. I'm just having huevos rancheros. They can wait.
This is terrible, guys. It really is.
But yeah, so back to like stuff and music, and the state of New York at the moment it's fucking abysmal. It's terrible. Like I said before, I have no desire to play because I don't want to play these games that these younger bands are just too willing to play.
There's way too many bands willing to play those games.
They accept it, and it's sad. It's pathetic. It's infuriating. Don't sell tickets. You're not Girl Scouts, okay? I mean, for fuck's sake. They should be working for you. All right, you are the talent. You should be dictating terms. Not them. Them. Us versus them.
Is that a Pink Floyd thing?
No, that's a sick of it all thing, but you know what? It works in this context.
That's fine. Walter, it was a pleasure. It was fucked up.
Yeah, it's
I'm fucked up right now. We're gonna go get hibachi or something
something like that, and you know,
2
this
seconds.
is you know, an interview that spans a friendship of almost 30
years.
Almost 30 years
at this point.
You know, people we've referenced and talked about, some of them are still around, some of them are kind of disappeared, some of them
have passed on.
Some have passed on, yeah.
I have to say this. I do this because it's not a passion thing. It's just fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not looking for scene points.
Speaking of scene points, I have to say this before we go. Jimmy Ferrari, Jimmy Blast Furnace, go fuck yourself. You are a fucking hack. You are a fucking herb. No, I don't fucking like you. I never liked you from fucking day one. Okay? Stop fucking trying to talk to me at shows like you fucking know me. You don't fucking know me. I don't like you. You try too hard. You are a fucking scrub. You're a Cousin Joe wannabe. You're not fucking Cousin Joe. You're a fucking you're just a fucking chump. You're a fucking donkey. Okay? Blast Furnace. Go blast your fucking mother's asshole. You fucking twat. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Don't fucking say hi to me. Stop sending me Facebook friend requests. They get deleted every time. Go fuck your mother. You piece of shit. Fuck you, Jimmy Ferrari. I don't like you. Fuck you and fuck anybody who has anything to do with you.
With that, I think we're gonna fucking go get food at this point.